I'm Sylvia McIntosh, and I'm your host for Forgiveness Fridays. This is a community designed to help heal the holes in the souls of humanity. I'm Sylvia McIntosh with Make Your Life Your Own Life Coaching. I'm a certified fearless life coach and a certified fearless trainer through the Fearless Living Institute from Sherman Oaks, California, under the tutelage of Rhonda Britton. So I want to welcome you here today. I really appreciate you being here. I think forgiveness is such an important topic, and I think it's a broader topic. I'm coming to realize, what I should say is, I'm coming to realize it's a broader topic than I thought it was at first, um, because I think it includes so much more. I mean, if forgiveness is actually going to be a daily practice, which is what I'm trying to make it be for myself, then it includes every little hiccup and interruption throughout the day that in any way unsettles my joy. So, um, whether it's being frustrated with myself because I booked too many appointments, or maybe I said something I wish I hadn't said, or maybe I said it in a way that I wish I hadn't said because it came across as much more harsh than I was imagining it, but it sounded harsh, or my face looked harsh to the person I'm talking to. But it also can include things that happen to me, that happen to me currently, that happened to me a long time ago. It can include things that happen from individuals. It can include things that feel hurtful or somehow restrictive from institutions or groups. So it just includes so much, but the whole idea of it, I think, what has made it so big to me is the awareness of realizing it can include anything and everything that I find unsettling. And I, of course, especially for this series, I've really been trying to focus on forgiveness of world issues and world events and world leaders and business leaders and basically anyone who seems to be in the news or is a part of the news that I feel is promoting selfish behavior or is giving off selfish behavior. So corporations who insist that it's okay to pay minimum wage to their employees, not give them full-time schedules in order to get around needing to provide benefits, and then have the gall to put out a budget showing how minimum wage can be livable, and they show the income and the expenses, and they start by showing two incomes. If you need two incomes, you don't have a living wage. If you had a living wage, one income, one job would be enough. And then they promote this budget with $20 a month for health insurance. So anyone listening, if you can tell me where to get health insurance for $20 a month, I would love to know, because I haven't come across anything even close to that. And then they also don't include heat. Now, granted, it's some apartments your heat is included, but I think the assumption that where you're living includes heat is, especially since you list housing as mortgage or rent. Obviously, if you can find a mortgage for $600 a month, which you can do if it's a small enough house and you're willing to do enough work to fix it up and make it livable, but you're going to be paying heat. So either only listed as rent or you have to include heat. So it just, stuff like that I feel is being put out in a subtle way to beat us back into complacency so that we won't really pay attention to what's going on. This week, my big enlightenment was spending time watching the PBS American Experience episodes about getting suffrage, getting women's vote in the United States. So there are two episodes. It's either 7 and 8 or 8 and 9. I'm not sure, but it's called Getting the Vote. 2 hours apiece, about the 70 2-year struggle to get the vote for women in America. So that was a bit of a shock to me. I had no idea that it had taken that long. So on one hand, kudos to all those women who kept at it, who never gave up despite being beaten and jailed and ostracized and vilified and everything else, instead of being engaged in a polite and interesting conversation or debate where both sides actually get a chance to listen. Of course, the opposition to votes for women weren't interested in listening. They were interested in maintaining power, which seems to be one of the primary sources for virtually all disagreements, and it is for all wars, maintaining power over, instead of being able to recognize power together. I love the phrase that a rising tide lifts all boats, which is certainly true. It doesn't matter what size the boat is. If the tide goes up in the harbor, all the boats will go up. Why is it so hard to recognize that this is true in so many ways? I mean, one of the reasons, if you see a fast food restaurant, you'll probably see several of them. It used to baffle me. Why would you put them all together? Put one here, put one somewhere else, and they're not competing. Well, actually, it works better to have them all together because different people will choose different things at different times, or in my instance, my family, sometimes some car occupants want one place and others want another, and so it makes it convenient. And it also makes it convenient to switch it up. Let's go to this one this week, let's go to that one that week, and let's go to the other one the following week, or whatever your schedule is. But by putting similar businesses together, whether it's fast food, whether it's regular restaurants, which of course are struggling to function right now, apparently back in the olden days when there were tailors, they were all grouped together because it actually made it easier for customers to come and choose your shop if you were close to others, because while they're looking, maybe they came down to see the other one, but if they see you and you have a different sign in your window, or maybe you need something that your shop doesn't offer, you're easier to find if you're next door to where they thought they were going to go. So we work better through cooperation. We're more successful through cooperation. This whole program to work and support the smaller businesses that are struggling right now because of COVID, because they can't have their doors open like they did before, is actually drowning because the big corporations who have all the lawyers are taking all the money, even though they are saying small shops should have saved money. So why didn't the big shops? The big shops have so much more money to work with. Why aren't they saving the money to carry them through rough times? Why are they the ones who bought up all and put out of business all these smaller ones? Why aren't they prepared to deal with themselves? So this is the kind of thing that I've really been trying to focus on, so that as I become aware of it, what I can do is be open to options and opportunities to take some action to start reversing the trend that is killing small business and making it harder for the American dream to come true. And also to see that we are never again in a situation where we have a successful town and the whites come in and burn it down. I mean, if it just, we can't do this anymore. We cannot continue to treat human beings as anything less than human beings. And color doesn't make you less than human. Race doesn't make you less than human. Religion doesn't make you less than human. Your behavior can make you seem less human, but behavior is learned. So that can always be adjusted. And you attract more flies with honey than vinegar. So if we're going to adjust it, then we need to be able to do our best to try to engage people in conversation. And one of the things I learned from watching the videos is sometimes if people don't want to engage in conversation, you have to make a lot of noise to get their attention. So I don't have a problem with making noise. But I also love, if you look at the American experience and Alice Paul, who was designated as the leader of the more militant resistance, she's a Quaker, so she's a pacifist in her upbringing and in her heart. And her militant approach had to do with setting up people with banners to stand in public places where they would be seen by the thought leaders. She didn't throw stones. She didn't hurt people. She got hurt. She and her people got hurt because they're simply standing with banners got the women who did it in trouble because the people in power, the white men, were threatened by this. And so they used violence to try to stop it. But even though her tactics were considered more militant than the rest of the movement, she didn't actually use any violence. So we can do both. We can use the peaceful, nonviolent approach, both through what are considered militant actions, protests, holding banners, doing the things that people in Portland are trying to do. And we can also do it through even more peaceful means where we don't hold banners and we don't have big rallies. We maybe organize a parade in advance and we set everything up and get all the permissions. But there's just room for so many approaches to do this kind of thing. And what this really woke me up to is paying attention to the things that are in the media that are designed to put me to sleep so that I won't take action, so that I won't think this is important, so that I won't think that white privilege is a thing, because it is a thing. Virtually all addiction help organizations start by saying you cannot fix a problem you won't admit is there. White privilege is a thing. We need to admit that. Then we need to figure out what it looks like so that we can then start to choose to behave differently. So that we can start consciously to choose to behave in a way that is universally respectful, that is universally open to the idea that ideas that are different from our own aren't necessarily bad. So what I want to talk about today is the forgiveness letter. And through Fearless Living, we have a wonderful exercise, and it's a letter that you can write to yourself, to another person, to an organization, it doesn't matter, but just someone, when you think about them, if it still bothers you in any way, if it still makes you really sad, or it makes you angry, or you feel defensive, or you find yourself going back to whatever that event was, so you're no longer in the present moment, then you can use this letter, and it has some stem sentences on it, so that if you're not sure where to start, you can start by answering the questions. What I wish had happened is, what I was hoping for was, what I would love to hear from you is, what I wish I could say to you is. So it's stem sentences. And as you write, if you think of something else, you're free to write anything and everything that comes to mind. The idea is to get it all out so that it no longer has the pressure cooker power inside you. When we're stuffing things down, we're building up a pressure cooker in ourselves, and that's when we keep exploding. If we don't want to explode anymore, we have to stop building up the pressure. We need to recognize that something is disturbing our equilibrium and our joy, and deal with it, if not in the moment, as soon as we can. And when the old stuff comes up, then find a moment as soon as possible where you can take the time to sort through it. Now, to get a copy of this forgiveness letter and the stem sentences, all you need to do is sign up for my Forgiveness Fridays email list, which you can either do on my Facebook page, Make Your Life Your Own with Sylvia McIntosh, sign up for email, or go to my website, which is sylviamcintosh.com, and there you can click subscribe, and choose the Forgiveness Fridays email list, and I will send you a PDF of this and the other forgiveness exercises that we have been using here. So the whole idea is to work to make forgiveness a practice, so that even just feeling threatened by somebody else, maybe there's something there that we can sort through, to be open to options on how to approach this other person, this other organization in such a way that we can cohabitate, because that's what we need to be able to do. So the other part of all of this is to join the Forgiveness Fridays chat, which happens on Zoom, and that happens at 9:30 in the morning here in the Eastern Time Zone. You do need the invitation so that you have the Zoom room number and password. So if you don't have that yet, sign up for the Forgiveness Fridays email list so that I can send you that information and you can join that conversation. And right now we've got people from several different time zones here in the U.S. It's intimate group. You'll get a chance to be heard. So we'd love to have you join us. And we will see you here again next Friday, which will be the last of my Friday morning broadcasts. So I'll either need to change the time or change the topic, change the title, because I might need to move it to a different day. But we'd love to have you join us there. Join this community designed to heal the holes in the souls of humanity. And another way that you can really work through forgiveness is through life coaching. Because sometimes the challenge is all we can think of is what it is, and we don't know how to say it. Sometimes having someone to talk to that isn't going to tell you what to do or what to think, and isn't going to judge you for what you do or what you think, but just allow you to process what's happening and then ask the next question. And lead you back, because we all have our own answers. Anytime you're asked an opinion question, you actually do know. But what happens is we get so used to being told, no, you shouldn't think like that, or don't be like that, or that isn't polite, or you don't get to think, you're going to do what I say. Whatever it is that happens in our upbringing that starts to squelch us down and starts to tell us there's something wrong in our being, makes it so we start burying our voice that talks to us. Children know exactly what they want when they're young, but it gets drilled out of them, beaten out of them, ignored out of them, not necessarily even through neglect. Sometimes it's just parents are trying to get something done. No, I don't have time for that now. Just don't be silly. Let's get done. We got to do this. They don't even mean to be dismissive, and we're being dismissive. And so we block away what we want in order to know how to blend in, fit in. Life coaching can really help you drill down, find that safe that's deep inside you, learn the combination, and open that back up for you. So if that's something you would like to explore, I'm offering a free 20-minute session so you can find out what life coaching is and also get a feel of whether or not I would be a good fit. If I'm not, I know a lot of life coaches and I can refer you to someone else. So join our conversation in the Zoom chat at 9:30. If you don't have that information, email me right now so you can get it. Thank you for joining this community to heal the holes in the souls of humanity. I'm Sylvia McIntosh with Make Your Own Life Coaching. I'll see you here next Friday morning. And you can watch the replay of this on my YouTube channel, which is called Life Coach McSylvia. See you next Friday. See you at 9:30.